Memories are timeless treasures of the heart. Join us as we share weekly obituaries in memoriam reflections and loving tributes. We hope you find solace in the memories shared. In loving memory.
Crispin Evertus Bishbom. Sylvester Oscar Britton. Doreen Alitia Chase. Cleophus Sinclair Haynes. Tanya Shansia Gemet. Roger Albert Glenroy Maxwell. Sage Elise Murray. Cynthia Elaine Piggott. Whitney DeCourcy Pilgrim. Pedro St. Alban Roach. Martin Laval Rock. David MacDonald Rudder. Evelyn Simpson. Donovan Orlando Skeete. Makai Cameron Weeks. Crispin Evertus Bishbom, aged 74, of number 16, 2nd Avenue West Terrace Gardens, St. James, entered peacefully into rest on June 12, 2023. Retired official of the United Nations. Son of the late Pastor Wilfred Bishbom and Dorothy Eileen Bishbom. Husband of Shakila Malik. Father of Nikova Bishbom of the USA and Waldemar Bishbom. Stepfather of Kawar Malik of Pakistan. Brother of Leroy Lawrence, Trudy Nash, and the late Don Bishbom. Uncle of Dwayne and Dante Bishbom. Brother-in-law of Denise Bishbom. Cousin of Winfield Lawrence, Anita Straker, Carolyn Williams, Fitz Everton Randolph Blackman, and many others. Former husband of the late Jacqueline Felicia Bishbom. The funeral of the late Crispin Evertus Bishbom leaves Keith Jones Funeral Home June 30th, 2023 for the Berean Bible Church, Hottesel Turning No. 1, Laura Estate, St. Michael, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 10 a.m. for a service of thanksgiving. The cortege will then proceed to the Summit Gardens, Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens, the Ridge Christ Church for the interment. The family requests, in lieu of flowers, monetary donations be made to the Barbados Association of Palliative Care to be collected on the morning of the funeral. Live streaming of the funeral service may be viewed at YouTube/user/Berean Barbados/live. Sylvester Oscar Britton, also known as Brickstone of Oxnard's Road, Waterman's Village, St. James, entered peacefully into rest at age 77. Former security guard of Cobbler's Cove Hotel and Chickmont Food Limited. Husband of Lurleen Britton. Son of Meta Britton. Father of Charles Maynard, Keitra Davis, and Nicole Daniel of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Stepfather of Desmond Maynard of Canada. Grandfather of Kimmy Lopez, Chad Walker, Christian Davis, Rebecca, Santiago, Manny, and Jenna Maynard. Nathan and Renee Daniel, and Sharifa Hunt. Brother of Grace Alexander, Ivan, Phyllis, and the late Stephen Britton. Nephew of the late Hilda King, Gerald, Ainsley, and Darnley Britton. Uncle of Shelley Britton, Tammy Nichols, Suzanne Edwards, Jason, Troy and Andre Alexander, and Curtis and Kai Britton of Canada, cousin of many. Father-in-law of Nadezda and Jennifer Maynard, Dighton Davis and Randy Daniel, son-in-law of the late Verona Maynard, brother-in-law of Anderson and Corinne Maynard and Ralph Alexander. The funeral of the late Sylvester Oscar Britton leaves Earl's Funeral Home on Saturday, July 1st, 2023 for Western Light Church of the Nazarene, where relatives and friends are asked to meet for the service of Thanksgiving at 10 a.m. The funeral will then proceed to St. James Cemetery for the interment. Live streaming of the funeral may be viewed via watch.earlsfuneralhome.com/Sylvester Britton. Doreen Alethea Chase, aged 92, late of Villa Road, Britons Hill, St. Michael, mother of Carlton Chase, Veronica Sobers, Marcel Chase, Joycelyn Hunt, retired teacher of St. Leonard's Girls and Lester Vaughan Secondary Schools, Lawrence and Hartley Chase, Austin Dunna and the late Orlando Chase, sister of Maurice Chase, Cora Holder and the late Shirley Reed, sister-in-law of Monica Chase, mother-in-law of Reverend Michael Hunt, Harriet and Diana Chase, and Hal Dunna, aunt of Doreen Williams and Pat Chase, Julia and Brian Reed. The funeral of the late Doreen Alethea Chase leaves Belmont Funeral Home on Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 for the People's Cathedral, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 1 p.m. for the service. The funeral will then proceed to the Westbury Cemetery for the interment. The service may be viewed via live stream at www.belmontfuneralhome.live/Doreen Chase. Cleophus Sinclair Haynes of 6th Avenue, Rendezvous Gardens, Christchurch, husband of Mary Haynes, father of Adrian Compton, David and Trevor Haynes, grandfather of Akeem, brother of Jeanette Hewitt and Ruby Montague of the UK, uncle of Michael and Lorna Hewitt, Kiana Hewitt Annell and Neville, friend of Viola Warner, relative of the Collymore family, of the late Cleophus Sinclair Haynes, leaves Belmont Funeral Home on Thursday, June 29th, 2023, for the chapel of Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 10 a.m. for the service, followed immediately by the interment. Tanya Shansia Gemet of number 1 Marshall Parkinson Road, Tudor-Bridge, St. Michael, entered peacefully into rest at age 34. Daughter of Adrian Gemet, employee of MTW and sexton of St. Stephen's Anglican Church, and Okitha Gemet, J.P., mother of Taraji Gemet of Eagle Hall Primary, granddaughter of Rosie Walcott of the UK, niece of Dr. Hamilton Gemet, Grace Gemet, Angela Walcott, Sonia and Juliet Walcott of the UK, Wendy Edwards of New York, and 9 others, cousin of Rosalind Skinner, Sandra Mayers, Rico Walcott, and many others, relative of the Gemet and Walcott families, friend of Earl Greenidge, Octavia Jordan, Lisa Joseph and family of New York, Charlene Bailey of Canada, and many others. The funeral of the late Tanya Shansia Gemet leaves Earl's Funeral Home on Monday, June 26, 2023, for St. Stephen's Anglican Church, where relatives and friends are asked to meet for the service of Thanksgiving and the interment at 3 p.m. Live streaming of the funeral service may be viewed via watch.earlsfuneralhome.com/Tanya Gemet. Roger Albert Glenroy Maxwell of St. Barnabas Road, St. Michael, employee of Courtesy Garage and member of St. Barnabas Anglican Church, husband of Andrea Maxwell of Gildan Activewear SRL, son of Orville Maxwell and the late Cora Maxwell, father of Russell and Ramon Maxwell, adopted father of Sheena Clark and Matthew Jones, grandfather of Raj Maxwell, brother of Neil Maxwell, uncle of Nicole and Naomi Maxwell, nephew of Angela Hunt, Bonnie Worrell, and Roland Coombs, cousin of many. Relative of the Payne, Coombs, Byer, Clark, and Lindo families. Friend of Cedric Aline, Christopher Boyce, Father Anthony Holder, Marcia Jones, Samuel Gaston, the Brown, Clark, Ford, Graham, Best, and Sandiford families. A service of celebration and thanksgiving will be held on Friday, June 30th, 2023, at St. Barnabas Anglican Church, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 3 p.m., followed by the interment. The family invites you to view the live streaming of the service via www.lyndhurstfuneralhome.com/events/Roger-Maxwell. Sage Elise Murray, aged 16 years, of Providence Terrace Christ Church, past student of St. Gabriel's School and student of the Ursuline Convent, daughter of Mia Dugard and Craig Murray, sister of Tori Murray, granddaughter of Angela Gooding, Cyrline Goddard, Blair Murray, and the late Noel Dugard, step-granddaughter of Wendell Gooding, niece of Justin Dugard, Matthew Gooding, Abigail Gooding, Matthew Dugard, John Luke Dugard, Peggy Ann, Nicholas, and Stephen Murray, great-niece of Janet McLaren, Lionel Cumberbatch, and Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, President of Barbados. Goddaughter of Kim Seeley, Curtis Graves, Kristen Ellis, the Reverend Guy Hewitt, Leanne Rapson, and Sean Armstrong. A Thanksgiving service for the late Sage Murray takes place at Christchurch Parish Church on Tuesday, June 27, 2023, at 10 a.m., followed by private cremation. You may also join the family via live stream at ClydeBJonesFuneralHome.com to celebrate Sage's life. Aged 80, of First Avenue, Haynes Hill, Cave Hill, St. Michael, and formerly of Eden Lodge, St. Michael, entered into rest on Thursday, June 8, 2023. Daughter of the late Iris Piggott and Arnold Gittins, companion of Joseph Goodrich, loving mother of Bonita Flores, Violetta, Alistair, Glenroy, Judy and Harriet Piggott, Heather Piggott Durant, and Sandra Estwick. Beloved sister of Hazel, Shirley, Beverly, Trevor, Emerson, Maureen, and Sheila. Grandmother of 18, great-grandmother of 12, friend of many. The funeral of the late Cynthia Elaine Piggott leaves Keith Jones Funeral Home on Wednesday, June 28, 2023, for the Abundant Life Assembly, Haynes Hill Bank Hall, St. Michael, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 2 p.m. for a service of thanksgiving. The cortege will then proceed to Westbury Cemetery for the interment. Live streaming of the funeral service may be viewed via keithjonesfunerals.live/Cynthia Piggott. Whitney DeCourcy Pilgrim, affectionately known as Texas, aged 79, lifelong resident of Maxwell Hill, Christchurch. He entered peacefully into rest on Monday, June 5, 2023, at his residence. Son of the late Pearl and Fitz Pilgrim, father of Jason Pilgrim, stepfather of Jacqueline Bentham, O'Brien Ashby, and Anne Grambo, grandfather of Jolie Pilgrim, brother of Ronnie Pilgrim, Pauline, the late Margot Ward, Curtis, and Cyril, uncle of Roger, Abigail, Donna, and Darren, cousin of Judy and Enid Cox, Pat Odell, and many more, father-in-law of Margarita Haynes Pilgrim, special friend of Carmen Beckles. A service of Thanksgiving takes place on Tuesday, June 27th at 2 p.m. at Maxwell Hill Wesleyan Holiness Church, Maxwell Hill, Christchurch, where relatives and friends are kindly asked to attend. The cortege will then proceed to Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens for the interment. To express condolences, visit ClydeBJonesFuneralHome.com. Pedro St. Alban Roach, affectionately known as Boo, of number 16 Checker Hall, St. Lucie, and formerly of Greenwich's St. Lucie, entered peacefully into rest on Monday, June 12, 2023, at age 55. Taxi operator of ZM449, son of Verena Roach and the late George Johnson, cherished father of Nikita Roach, grandfather of Najari Clark, brother of Paula, Carl, and Lesroy, nephew of Moselle and Colin, both of the UK, Coleridge and Philip Roach, Sheila Toppin, Mondell, Anthony Johnson, and 2 others. Cousin of Emerson, Floline, Jeffrey, Maureen of the UK, Philip Jr., Shakir, and many others. Relative of the Roach, Toppin, Griffith, Babb, Slocum, and Johnson families. Friend of Lyndon McCaskey, Grantley Rock, George Johnson, and many others. The funeral of Pedro St. Alban Roach leaves Earl's Funeral Home on Thursday, June 29th, 2023, for St. Lucy's Parish Church near Nestfields, St. Lucie, where relatives and friends are asked to meet for the service of Thanksgiving and the interment at 3:30 p.m. Live streaming of the funeral may be viewed via watch.earlsfuneralhome.com/Pedro Roach. Martin Laval Rock of 2nd Avenue, Rockley, Christchurch, and formerly of Cave Hill, St. Lucie, entered peacefully into rest on Thursday, June 15, 2023, at aged 79. Retired employee of Roberts Manufacturing Company Limited, beloved husband of Mary Rock, Joyce, son of Edna Rock and the late Astley Rock, father of Melanie Rock of the UK, brother of Barbara Phillips, Pat Rock Weeks, Dr. Lenny Rock, Listiel Anderson, Donaldson and Steve Rock, and the late Maria Rock Daniel, nephew of Winifred, Denzel, Joyce, Sheila, Uraline, and the late Marva Stewart, brother-in-law of Anderson Weeks, Lorenzo Daniel, Juliet and Betty Rock, and Marjorie Charles of St. Lucia. Relative of the Rock, Coombs, Griffith, and Cattle families. The funeral of Martin Laval Rock leaves Earl's Funeral Home on Wednesday, June 28, 2023, for Mile and a Quarter Seventh-day Adventist Church, where relatives and friends are asked to meet for the service of Thanksgiving at 2 p.m. Tributes will commence at 1:30 p.m. The funeral will then proceed to New Haven Lawns, Mount Pleasant Memorial Gardens for the interment. Live streaming of the funeral may be viewed via watch.earlsfuneralhome.com/Martin Rock. David MacDonald Rudder, aged 47, late of the Garden St. James and formerly of Downs Gap, Arthur Seat, St. Thomas, entered peacefully into rest on May 23, 2023. Former assistant pastor of the Jackson Christian Mission and former executive officer of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Beloved husband of Petra Rudder, née Prescott, of the Combermere School. Son of Othniel and the late Anita Rudder. Adoptive son of Reverend Frederick and Heather Bailey. Son-in-law of Hazel and Joseph de Pisa and Ronald Crookingdale. Loving brother of Nisha Latoya of the Cheapside Post Office, Xavier and Zachary Rudder. Uncle of Devonshire Graves, Trinae Duncan, Enrico and Lachey Nurse, nephew of Yvonne and Phyllis Henry, and the late Glyne and Winfield Whittington Jr., brother-in-law of Dr. Nadia and Ashley de Pisa, Shernell Seeley and the late Mark Prescott, godfather of Andrew Callender, cousin of many, relative of the Rudder, Whittington, and Henry families, friend of Pastor Deborah and Cameron Callender, Andrea Waith, Sean Nurse, Angela and Dion Thompson, Karen Jordan, and many others. The funeral of the late David MacDonald Rudder leaves Belmont Funeral Home on Saturday, July 1st, 2023, for the Christian Mission Gospel Tabernacle, corner of Lightfoot Lane and Tudor Street, Bridgetown, St. Michael, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 10 a.m. for the service. The funeral will then proceed to St. James Cemetery for the interment. Evelyn Simpson, aged 58, of Gall Hill No. 2, St. John, former worker of designer decor, daughter of the late Irene Simpson and Glenville Estwick, loving mother of Alicia of MIS Products Limited and Nicola Simpson of the NAB, and Tristan Holder of Sandals, loving grandmother of Thierry, Nakaya, Reniko, Trishan, and Ashante, sister of Maxine, Michael, Marge, Seth, Yvette, Eslyn, Sherry Ann, and Wendell, aunt of Sean, Olita, Jason, Kim, Odelia, Rihanna, Serenity, and 11 others. Dear friend of Andrea, Joy, Denise, Isel, Junior, Lolita, Meldine, Natalie, Rooney, Verge, Carl, Alfonso, Shelley, and many others. Mother-in-law of Renetta and Swain, relative of the husbands, Doughton, Cheeseman, Bancroft, and Hinkson families. Special thanks to the staff of the AKU and staff of Wards C9 and A1 of the QEH and Dr. Ayanda Holder. A service of thanksgiving to celebrate the life of Evelyn Simpson will take place on Thursday, June 29th, 2023, at the St. John Parish Church, Cleveland, St. John, where relatives and friends are asked to meet for the service and burial at 3 p.m. Condolences may be sent to the family at behindfuneralservice@hotmail.com. Donovan Orlando Skeete, aged 58, late of College Savannah, St. John, worker of the Sanitation Service Authority, son of the late Eulalie Sue Skeete and Ivan Quinton, father of Shannon Skeete, brother of Thelma Shady of the UK, Marjorie, Joseph, Terence, Neil, Cecil, Maureen, Desmond of Canada, Frank Skeete, and Jennifer Barker, brother-in-law of Francina and Sharon Skeete, uncle of Henderson of the UK, Andrea, Sandra, Ken, Junior and Neil Skeete, Diana Padmore, Raquel Wason, Sophia Thuller of Switzerland, Damien Shady of the UK, Shane Lee Jones, Fabian Wickham, Damian Smith, Rommel Leacock, Dario Coppin, Charlene and Desmond Clark, Rihanna Bancroft, and the late Brian Moore. The funeral of the late Donovan Orlando Skeete leaves Belmont Funeral Home, Belmont Road, St. Michael, on Monday, June 26, 2023, at 1:45 p.m. for St. Mark's Anglican Church, College Savannah, St. John, where relatives and friends are asked to meet at 3:30 p.m. for the service and interment. The service and burial may be viewed via live stream at belmontfuneralhome.live/Donovan Skeete. Makai Cameron Weeks, aged 15, of Wilcox, Christchurch, student of Queen's College, member of the UWI Tennis Club and the Barbados Tennis Club JTI Initiative, son of Tisha Peters and Ian Weeks, brother of Kayla Weeks, stepson of Kim Leacock, grandson of Megan Weeks, Ancilla Johnson, the late Llewellyn Weeks, and Fulton Roberts, nephew of Corey Weeks, Lizelle, Samantha, Andre and Ricardo Roberts, Karen and Jennifer Johnson, cousin of Cyprian and Kian Weeks, Orlando, Faye, Jared and Nadia Nurse, Keston, Kevin and Kendall Earl, Sheldon Leon, Risa Leon, and many others. A service of thanksgiving takes place at the chapel of Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens, the Ridge Christ Church, on Saturday, July 1st at 2 p.m., followed by private cremation. You may also join the family via live stream at www.clydebjonesfuneralhome.com to celebrate Makai's life.
This week, we remember
Marcia Veronica Adams, J.P., Richard Anthony Birch, Maureen Andrea Campbell, Thelma Ophelia Jewsbury, Kevin E. Hoyt, also known as Kevy, Esther Maylene John, Gwendolyn Wilhelmina Jordan, Zareen Shanna McFarlane, Joan Diana Morita Worrell.
One of the greatest comforts in times of sorrow is the expression of sympathy conveyed in many ways. The team at In Loving Memory thanks you on behalf of the families for your expressions of sympathy at this time.